So we meet again after what? About a year?
Yes, about a year, yes.
How have you been?
Good, my friend.
Nice to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to another episode of the Ask Kavi RF show, once again in my favorite city, Vancouver. The weather is not the best today, but Vancouver is always awesome, and it is great to be back with my friend Dan Rock. And so Dan, how's Vancouver? How's the startup scene? How's everything happening?
I think Vancouver now, it's booming a lot more for sure. You have a lot of tech companies actually in Vancouver. I believe like Vancouver is the kind of the Silicon Valley of Canada.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Because it's near, US, it's just,
right.
Very close. A lot of tech companies are in US and, Seattle and things like that. Microsoft is here. A lot of headquarters are in here as well.
Right.
So I think it's booming.
So a lot of people wanting to start up on their own and trying to figure out what to do, or they've got a pathway. Like, people land up in Silicon Valley and everybody pretty much, has a company to go to or a business to start. But do you think Vancouver has come of age, or they're still trying to find its feet?
I think for any entrepreneurs who want to start, I think the biggest mistakes a lot of entrepreneurs make is, I've got this idea, I've got this technology, I've got whatever. I never believe in that approach. I always believe in solving a problem in the marketplace, how I can add value in the marketplace. So I always look for problems to solve. So not just technology for the sake of technology.
Right.
Like, I get pitched all the time, like, hey Dan, would you like to invest in my deal?
Sure.
I've got this thing, it's going to be the next Facebook, and I always just run. Because I'm not interested in that. Right. I'm interested in, hey, you know what? Here's something that I can see a void in the marketplace, a problem not being solved, and then you create a solution for them, not for us.
Right.
Because I think a lot of startups, they focus on themselves.
Right.
That, let's a bunch of guys very smart, let's create something.
Right.
Let's create something cool, versus what does the marketplace actually want. I think start with that.
Tell me, when people are in Vancouver, because you're the expert over here and everybody knows you and you meet a lot of people. And I loved your video, by the way, you did in the Toronto hotel.
Yes,
I showed it to my team in the office.
Yes.
That was very cool.
Thank you.
So when you meet people everywhere, do you find that Vancouver, and this is a question, I don't know the answer to it, do you think that entrepreneurs in Vancouver are thinking global, or there's still a myopic view that, North America, 300 million people, or they're saying the world, 6 billion customers? I
think a lot of them are thinking at least selling across Canada or selling to US.
Right.
I think for sure. Because Vancouver is a very small market.
Right.
For Vancouver, if you think in terms of, people think of in Vancouver City, it's very laid back.
Right.
It's kind of the retirement city.
Right.
Toronto, Ontario, that's where the business happens.
But listen, you know what? I tell you, I always used to think Vancouver was laid back. And
yes.
You were one of the first people who changed that view, because you're always on the go.
Yes.
You're not like
and I like it here because everybody else is laid back.
You know what? I say that to my wife all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to, let's say I was in Hong Kong a few months ago. You go to Hong Kong, like in here, it's 9 to 5, right? In Hong Kong, you don't get off work at 7.
Right.
You work 6 days a week.
Sure.
And people, the pace that they work.
Right.
So if I work very fast, like it's easy for me to compete.
Right.
Like for me, it's people say, I just want to work smart. I don't want to work hard.
Right.
Shit. But what if I work hard and I work smart?
Right.
Then I can dominate.
Right.
So I like it because the competition is weak.
Right. But do you find hardworking people here, because immigrants from all over?
Very few.
Very few.
Even here.
Yeah.
Even here. So if you do work harder, you put in a little bit more effort, you go the extra mile,
right.
You stand out.
But so Vancouver in itself is a thriving ecosystem where you can build your brand.
Yes,
and all of
yes.
that.
It has the infrastructure, a lot of resources,
right.
A lot of good people, great entrepreneurs. But just like anyone in the city, nowadays, as you know,
right.
you're competing with the world.
Right.
So it's very, very competitive. So it all depends on, it doesn't matter where you are, but I always tell people, think global,
right.
but act local.
Exactly.
Right? So think in terms of global, what you're going to serve the whole world. You want to impact millions. millions of people, but locally, how can you act step by step? In locally, who can you meet? Who can you network? What resources you can utilize?
Right.
Start with that, but think global, but act local.
But so this show goes out to at least 142,000 people every Tuesday, and now it's going to go out to even more people. And so most of our Asian customers, India, the Indian subcontinent, some parts of UAE, and all of that. And because I travel back and forth between, and meet entrepreneurs on both sides. I love Dubai, by the way. It's booming. A lot of stuff happening over there. But when it comes to Vancouver and India, North America, and back and forth, 6 months. It used to take 6 months for information from here to actually go get drilled down there. This is the new trend.
Yes.
Now it's about 2 months.
Yes.
Through these shows and through friends like yourselves, through entrepreneurs like yourselves, through mentors like yourself, I want to make this real time.
Yes.
We reach out to people in Asia saying this is how it's happening in North America. So what do you think is the trend? I see a lot of people being mentored today, and you also mentor a lot of people.
Yeah.
How should somebody choose the right mentor?
Very good question. First of all, why do you need a mentor?
Right.
I always believe in mentorship my whole life. I've had multiple mentors in my life. A handful of them had a huge impact in my life. So I'm a very big believer in that, and there's some entrepreneurs who don't believe in that.
Right.
I'm just saying that's what works for me, because I've read a lot of books, I've attended a lot of workshops, conferences, and they're all good, they all help, but what works for me is finding a mentor to show me the way. So I think the key to finding a mentor, number one, is you want to find someone who you can resonate with. Right. You have good chemistry with. Not just, that guy is very successful. There are a lot of successful entrepreneurs, but do you resonate? Do you share the same values?
Right.
At the end of the day, because you're going to be spending time with the mentor, and you want to think in terms of it's a long-term relationship.
Right.
It's not just, hey, let's have a couple lunch.
Right.
That's not a mentorship. Mentorship, it's years.
Sure.
I've had my mentor now, one more than 10 years, the other one more than 7 years.
Wow.
Okay.
So two mentors.
Two mentors. Main mentors.
Okay.
Main mentor. One is Alan Jacks.
Right.
The other one is Dan Pena. So I have two. And I'm now searching for my third mentor as well, and I'm talking to different people.
Right.
So when you approach a mentor, I think you want to approach a mentor in a way that, because your mentor is already successful.
Right.
He has what you want.
Sure.
So don't approach them and say, feel like it's their obligation to help you, because it's not. Okay, they might be very generous, but it's up to us and say, hey, what can we do for you? And remember my first mentor, Alan, I basically worked for him for next to nothing for 1 year.
For 1 year?
For 1 year.
Wow, that's awesome.
For 1 year. So I was in the office, I was cleaning the office, I was licking the envelope and putting the stamps on, taking to the post office, because he run a direct mail company.
Right.
I was writing, it's like just doing anything.
Sure.
Anything to help out.
Right.
They pay me next to nothing.
Right. Just to stay around him, to
exactly. Because at the time I had no money.
Right.
I had nothing to offer except my time.
Right.
So I said, whatever you need. So I did that. And at first he was a little bit skeptical, because funny enough, successful people, when I first approached Alan, he said, I said, I want to learn from you. He said, you want to learn from me? I said, yeah, I want to learn from you. Nobody's ever asked him that. He said, so you don't want a job? I said, I don't want a job. And you don't want money from me? I don't want money from you. You just want to learn. I said, I just want to learn. And nobody's ever asked him that.
Right.
And I just want to learn. I said, whatever it takes. And then that's how we started a relationship.
So that's what you need to give, right? So this philosophy is the same everywhere in the world. You come to Vancouver, you talk to Dan Lok, or you go to any other part of the world, you have to put in the time and you need to be hungry to learn, right? So that's...
I always say, if you are not willing to invest time and effort in the relationship, why would you expect your mentor to invest time and effort in the relationship? It makes no sense.
Right.
Your mentor is busy.
And also tell me, for people who are doing jobs, because I get this a lot, even from my company, we've got about 150 people, a lot of people.
Yes.
I tell people that, believe in the person who's running the company, believe in your mentor or your boss or whoever you're working with.
Yeah.
If you don't, just don't work. If your visions don't align, because then it's otherwise, it's like you said, it's 9 to 5 and 9 to 6, and it doesn't work. Either give it all you got or just do something else.
Yeah.
Right. So what message would you give to people who are not really entrepreneurs yet, still in jobs?
Okay.
Should they be unsatisfied that I'm not an entrepreneur?
No, first of all, I don't believe everyone should be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Let me just say that.
Right.
In fact, most people shouldn't be entrepreneurs.
Right.
Okay? So that's number one. Number two, if they in terms of where they work, every leader starts as a follower.
Every leader starts as a follower.
Okay,
you put a tagline over there.
Yeah, you follow a leader first, and you learn from the leader, and then eventually, if you want to become a leader, then you could. but it starts with be a follower. It's like every teacher was a student, right? And then I think people have to understand, you don't necessarily have to start a business to achieve your financial goal. Okay, you look at Bill Gates. Well, not just Bill Gates, he's got second right-hand man, also very, very wealthy, also a billionaire.
That's a good point.
Steve Jobs, right-hand man, also a billionaire. Okay, so sometimes it's finding the right person to work for. There's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly fine. You being or working for the right company, if they do, let's say in the future, go public. I mean, look, Facebook, when Facebook went public, a lot of people become millionaires. When Microsoft went public, a lot of people become millionaires. So that could be also is a good way to do. Now, if for people who let's say they're in a job, they have the aspiration to be an entrepreneur, I always say don't just like quit your job and say, oh, I'm going to start my own business. That's the worst thing you can do. Because the worst time to start a business is when you're desperate and or when you just want to make money. Because business takes time. As you know, a job, paycheck, in 30 days, you're going to get a paycheck.
Guaranteed.
Business, you know, my friend, right? It takes years to make money. So when you don't have money and you want to start people say, oh, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to make a profit in 3 months. You're not going to make a profit in 3 months. You might not see a profit in three years. So what do? So I would say become a chicken entrepreneur.
A chicken entrepreneur?
A chicken entrepreneur. Like there are many ways you can do it. Example, let's say someone within your company, let's say I work for your company, Ajit, and I see, hey, you know what, boss, I have this idea and I think it would help the company and utilize some of the resources we have. Do you think I can start this project on my own?
On the side.
On the side. Sure. And if it works, is it okay if I, do a little bit of revenue share and be a partner, something like that?
Sure.
You'll be like, okay, what the heck, sure, right? Right? That's like an entrepreneurship, like a chicken entrepreneur. I'm utilizing the company's resources.
And every CEO wants those kind of...
Yes.
You want people coming to you saying these things.
So you under an umbrella, that's one way to do it. Or you start something what I call like a side hustle. A side business that you can do. You still keep your daytime job, and you start with that and keep that going until it makes at least 2-3 times more money than a current job. Then you can quit. I never ever recommend people to quit and then start their own thing. It's the last thing you want to do. It sounds good. Sometimes you hear those stories. Oh yeah, I fired my boss and I start my own thing and now I make it. You hear one of those success stories. There are like 1,000 failures you don't hear about, right?
Exactly. So this is one of the reasons for this show is to capture real life stories, and because you meet so many people, what better way to capture stories through you? So this was actually very well explained. That there are other ways of making money. You do not need to jump into entrepreneurship, and if you do want to, you can phase it out like you said.
Exactly.
But tell me, in terms of, we spoke about Vancouver, we spoke about going global, thinking local, being local, thinking global, all of that. But how do people look for opportunities outside of, it's the whole world today. Every company can say that if there's 7 billion people on the planet, why can I not be an international company doing everything? So how do you teach people to think big? Especially in a smaller place like Vancouver, laid back mindset, if I can call it that.
For thinking big nowadays, it's actually quite easy. First of all, if you want to think big, you want to hang around with people who think big. So if you are at whatever $500,000, $1 million level, if you hang around with people making less than you, then you feel pretty good about yourself. But if you hang around with people who are making, running a $20 million company, $50 million, $100 million company, when you hang around with those people, and right now maybe you don't know those people, but you have access to podcasts, you have access to YouTube, just to get inspired. And something, if you watch enough of that, it might click and say, you know what, maybe I'm thinking too small. I think Donald Trump has a great quote. My mentor says the same thing. If you could be thinking anyway.
The US president?
Yes. Yes, dear president. Who knows? We never know. You never know. So if you're going to be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. And I believe, including myself, actually, like looking back, that's one of the mistakes I made. My mentor always years ago told me, hey, Dan, you got to think bigger. And I thought I was thinking pretty big, and now I think I'm thinking too small. So that's one of the things. Even starting this year, I want to think bigger, way bigger, and just change the way I do things. I'm a little bit more aggressive. Just grow 10 times, 100 times.
Wow, that is thinking big. There's this new company, I don't know if I should name the company right now. There's a new company which came into India and became part of the hotel aggregation market. This 22-year-old guy. We spent a lot of time together, And I wish I had invested in this company, not that he asked me to invest, but he had no money at that point. And this was only 1.5 years back. And today he's raised $100 million.
There you go.
And he says his company is going to be worth, it's going to be a $2 trillion company with a couple of percent in profits. That is thinking huge for a 22, 23 year old guy.
Yes.
To think 2 trillion. And he said that is my 5-year plan. It's not my 15-year plan. I'm going to figure it out later. So people are thinking like, to that level, and with a business plan. I mean, you have to have a logic to that. One thing I always tell people, it's very interesting when you're running an agency like we are doing at Internet Moguls. We get to meet a lot of kids coming in, a lot of entrepreneurs. Many people have gone out and done very well. And a lot of people come and say, can I start projects on the side? And I love that. One thing I always try to ask and see is how close, and I know because I met your entire family last time and I know my wife about it, but I think that has got such an important role to play in success. And I'm not talking about the family that you acquire after your wife and your kids. I'm talking about the family prior to that. And why I'm saying that is because your wife, we all love our wives and all respect to wives out there, but they know us after maybe 20-25 years of our lives. I think my best mentor has been my dad and my mother. Both of them got 60 plus and they still work as hard and guide me. If I get lost, I need to get them 20 minutes. It's not because they know they will know every problem in the social media industry that I'm part of, but they know me and they know how I can get around a problem or whatever. So, how important do you think having a mentor in a family is, or just being surrounded by family?
If you're that fortunate that you have a supportive, your dad is successful or your mom and they could teach you and they could be role models, I mean, that's fantastic. I would say to the people who are watching, either way, if you have a very supportive family, if they're your role models, great. Learn from them, utilize, learn from their knowledge, benefit from their wisdom. But if you come from a dysfunctional family, your dad is an alcoholic, don't use that as an excuse, right? Use that as a reason why I don't want to be like my parents. I want to make something of my own. That's perfectly fine. And if you cannot learn from them, learn from other people. The great thing is you can learn from anywhere. I mean, if you're open, you're humble, you are willing to learn, you can learn from anybody, bad and good, I believe. So don't use it as an excuse, but it would be very helpful, of course. My mom is very, very supportive. My dad also very loving, but I didn't learn business from my dad. I learned from other people because my dad has never been a good businessman. He lost all the money, being taken advantage by his business partner, took his money and this and that. So it's a reverse role model for me. But I love my dad, so either way,
So in terms of, now the entire business ecosystem is becoming the internet. Right? You place your business on the internet and it takes off or goes out. I see a lot of businesses, and I was walking down Real Town before I came here in the morning, and I realized a lot of businesses, the husband, wife, the entrepreneur. I got a haircut in the morning at 9 and met the entrepreneur, great shop and everything. I couldn't find, and I loved the experience. And as soon as I got out, I was using his Wi-Fi, so I was sitting next to his window. I couldn't find a Facebook page. So a lot of people are so busy running their businesses, and decent business in Yale Town. I'm assuming they're making anywhere from $200,000 to $500,000 at least. How do they take that to the next level? They're just too busy doing their operations.
And I
just send a strong message out there to everybody. A small business owner. Should they not be worried about getting left behind in this day and age if they're only focusing on those 500 customers they built over the last 50 years? Because today they can get 500 customers a day with social media.
Well, it's like nowadays a lot of the people still operate based on, I think there's some business owners that are catching up, small percentage of them, and a lot of, let's say, retail, a lot of them, it's just still running the same old way. They're not thinking big. They're thinking a few hundred customers, a few thousand customers locally that they have. I believe now, in order to survive in the business world, is you got to be fast. I always say money loves speed. Speed is the new big.
Speed is the new big.
Speed is new big. It's not how big you are, because guess what? You've seen companies huge, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. In a couple of years, they're gone. Like, look at Lehman Brothers, right? Huge amount of company gone. Could be years history gone. it doesn't matter. I mean, look at even Target, right? Went into Canada,
Right.
lost a ton of money.
Sure.
Big company, gone. Because I think, I mean, even Target, you look at Target, if people watching, right, so, like kind of superstore type thing, they haven't done their research. Like they've made a lot of moves that just were completely
Right.
wrong. Because the CEO was not, the CEO doesn't understand what the marketplace wants. He thinks, okay, let's just renovate everything, and it's just the whole, I mean, mistakes. Anyway, so speed is the new big.
Right.
And it's about how fast we grow. It's better to go fast, go big, faster, because there's so many changes. So with these small businesses, I think it's so. I don't blame them because they're kind of small business owner
Right.
or lifestyle entrepreneur. I love to use that term, right? A blogger, a lifestyle entrepreneur, and that's perfectly fine.
Right.
They're happy making that 5,000, 10,000 a month, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think.
Sure.
But for entrepreneurs who want to be bigger and grow bigger, then yes, internet. I mean, guys like us, we do whatever it takes, right?
Exactly. So for like somebody making $500,000, they still might have the money to put aside for internet marketing.
Yeah.
Do you think they should give it out to entrepreneur, to somebody to manage it, or somebody to get a mentor like yourself to help them, or because that they can't do it in house?
Yeah, it depends. So first of all, I never like to give away just money to somebody to manage it,
Sure.
because it's your money, not their money.
Right.
If you give it to a stockbroker, we've heard of those stories, right?
Oh, yes.
And to get wiped out, they have no incentive helping you grow. So it's at the end, it's your money. So I think we need to take responsibility, and so with.
You just can't outsource your internet marketing and say somebody will do it for you. You need to get your hands dirty. You need to get involved.
Yeah, you got to know. Like even before you outsource, I think at the very minimum you got to know your stuff. It's like if I want to hire an SEO company and I want them to optimize my website, get more traffic. Well, if I'm paying them whatever, 5,000, 10,000 a year, 20,000 a year, if I know nothing about SEO,
Yeah.
how would I know they do a good job or not?
Right.
They could be bullshitting me and say, hey,
And in most cases, they would be.
They would be.
Yeah.
If you don't know, but if you know what you're doing and say, hey, you know what? How does this? What's your plan?
Right.
What's the campaign?
Exactly.
Well, we're gonna do on-site optimization.
Right.
We're gonna optimize your title tag.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sure.
So I know you know what you're doing.
Right.
I could do it myself. I have
Don't
enough
have the time.
knowledge. I just don't have the time. Fine, I'll give you the money. You do it, and you provide a report.
Right.
That's okay. And that's the problems. Sometimes people they outsource, and then they have a bad experience, and then they blame these companies. They rip me off, right?
You've hit the nail on the head. One bad experience, and you know what?
Yeah, like everybody's bad.
Yeah, everybody's bad.
It's like man, I've had one bad day. All the women are bad. It's not like that,
Exactly.
right? No.
And then internet marketing doesn't work for them.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. Yes, right.
So at that time, the business is taking a beating. So should they be doing courses? Because this is what I always propagate in my to my clients. Go out and do courses. I see that you do some great Tuesday afternoons or Tuesday evenings.
Yeah.
And so just go learn.
Yeah.
Just go learn and then hire somebody to do it for you. Right?
You got. That's why if speed is new big, it's not how much you know, it's how fast you can learn.
Right.
I remember years ago I was attending an internet marketing conference many years ago, and it was like I think it was a 2-day conference, 2 or 3 day conference. And after the first day, at the time, the speaker was talking about you have like a pop up on your landing page to get more opt-ins.
Sure.
Now this was back then. It was like revolutionary, right? And then, so that's the first day he talked about that, and then that evening, day one, I went back to the hotel. I told my guy, hey, let's implement this. And next day, I go back to the conference, a few hundred people, and say, hey, you know what, I implemented this. It works. I almost doubled my conversion, getting more opt-ins. Guess what, out of the hundreds of people, I was the only one to implement that fast. It's that day that I know, you know what, maybe I'm not the smartest, maybe my English is not the best, but I can sure outsmart and outlearn and outwork these guys because I can implement that much faster. So that's been my motto.
Right.
So I'm very impatient. I always get stuff done fast.
Right.
Nothing gets done without a deadline. So I'm very always pushing and just getting a lot of stuff done very quickly.
I see that you keep in shape. So do you work out? And
Yes, work out, yoga in the morning, a little bit. I should work out even more.
That correlates directly to the business, right?
Absolutely. If you want to be a high performance, you think in terms of anything. Let's say you want to be a high performance athlete, you got to practice, right? If you want to be a high performance singer, you got to practice. Same thing with entrepreneurship.
You sing?
No, a little bit, but not that good. A little bit, yeah. I do karaoke, little bit here and there, right? Yeah, yeah. So
we maybe pick up another YouTube video of yours doing karaoke.
There's one on Facebook, man.
Is there?
Yeah, there was one on Facebook. Yeah, yes. So learning, going courses, absolutely. We all nowadays, there's no excuse. You and I have same access to the same books,
right.
Same videos, same podcasts, same courses. Why don't people take it? Don't take it? I don't know. But it's not like there's some secret information. Oh, only we can have it and you can.
Right.
No, the book that you read, the book I read, right. Anybody reads, you could read it.
Right.
But people don't.
Yeah.
People just don't.
They just want it, but they don't want to put in the hard
It's
work.
like I always tell people, think of in terms of many years ago, 50 years ago, 1% of population, like if you look at by the age 65, right? Most of them would be broke, right? A small percentage, maybe 15-16% would be okay, and then you have the 4% that are well off and 1% that's wealthy. Now, you think in terms of internet now, with all the knowledge, all the information, number doesn't change.
Seriously?
The number doesn't change. It's still the same. And guess what? The number is not going to change, even with all the information.
You know, I see that as an opportunity.
Because human nature is human nature. The 1% is the 1%. The winner is a winner. Loser is always a loser. It doesn't matter. It's like the people who need like motivational business information, the people who need the information the most don't seem to be seeking it. You don't see someone homeless and reading Think and Grow Rich. They need it, but they won't read it. Right. The people who don't need it, right. Like they're already successful, they're looking for the extra edge,
right.
They will read it.
Right.
So I learned that many years ago, and I'm not going to try to change that. Right. It's not my job to change that,
right.
You know. So, but it's human nature.
So you know, because like coming back to the fact that we're talking to a lot of audiences in India, and I take this show to different parts of the world. I take this show to about 12-15 countries every year.
Yes.
We work with about 550 brands in about 25 countries, and we show our latest videos to most of our clients, so that they can learn every time from what we're doing. What do you find in terms of when you hire people? When somebody says, you know what, Dad, I'm already successful and I made this, but I'm never able to hire the right person. You know, do you get that a lot?
Sometimes, because I think people's skills is not taught in school.
Right.
So we might be very good with technical skills, right? Maybe it's accounting, maybe economy, maybe it's even marketing, but people skills. People don't really know how to read people well. But when you've been exposed, like with myself, like you same thing. When you speak in front of a lot of people,
right.
You learn to read people well.
Right.
It's like if I meet someone, a stranger, I talk with them in maybe 4 or 5 minutes. I know a lot about the person.
Of course.
Not what they say.
Right.
Everything. And I look beyond than just what they say. I would hear from what they say and listen behind the meaning. Okay, what's their underlying belief?
Sure.
Where does that come from? And so I think when we hire somebody, when you're looking to hire somebody, I'll give you a couple good tips. Okay, number thing that I personally look for is loyalty. Loyalty is number one for me.
How do you find out loyalty before you know? You check
Well, I mean,
background check or
all that.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't believe in a resume.
Right.
It doesn't tell you anything. I like this.
Sure.
And if you can see, I was asked them to tell. Let's say, oh, do you think you're loyal or this and that? Well, tell me a story, right? And I would also look at some of their past. Like, do they jump from one thing to another?
Yes.
Okay. Do they? I also like to know what their background is. Example: if their parents came from some kind of retail, or like if their parents have good work ethics, they usually have good work ethics.
Right.
If they grew up in that kind of environment.
Sure.
So ask about their parents, what's going on.
Right.
I also ask about how they would handle certain situations. Okay, here's a scenario. How would you deal with that? So that tells me a lot as well. Also, what I call, give them a doofus test. So you check if they're doofus.
Okay.
So I would tell them to do something just obscene. Example would be, I would say, okay, for the interview, I want you to bring me the sports section of the Sun or the Province, which is our newspaper here. A particular sports section from the Sun. So if they show up with no newspaper, I ain't hiring them.
I couldn't find it. It was 2 early in the morning.
Guess what? If they're making excuses for that, at the job they'll make excuse.
Excellent point.
Okay.
Excellent point.
If they don't bring me, if they say ask for the Province, they bring me the Sun, they're not listening,
well,
right? So that I know. Because how you do anything
Right.
is how you do everything.
Right.
If they bring me exactly what I want, that's okay. That means they are the kind of guy you give them, you tell them to do this, they'll do exactly that. Not who I want either.
Right.
I want people who go the extra mile. One time when I did this, a guy came in for the interview. He brought me both newspapers,
Okay.
just in case.
Right.
In case, right?
That's not bad.
Right, that's not bad, right? And then I had one time I was looking for a kind of operating person. Lady comes in, she said, I memorized all the scores because she thought I was going to test her.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
That's kind of who you want.
Right.
And I even had one time, I don't want to get off the camera frame, but one time, sometimes they say pretend it's a newspaper. I say, have a seat, and I purposely put the newspaper on the seat.
Right.
And one interview, so he's the seat, right? I put the newspaper here.
Right.
He would just sit on the newspaper.
Uh-huh.
It's like this guy doesn't even think.
Right.
Like it should be okay, right? It's
Right.
very basic stuff.
Right.
But okay, that means if I'm not looking,
Right.
what is he going to do in my company?
Right.
It's just like, okay, nobody's looking. It's like he doesn't even think.
Right.
That makes no sense, right?
So like you said, so how he does anything is how he's.
Yeah, I like to
everything.
give them like tests. Oh, what kind of ice cream do you like?
Right.
They're like, huh? Like it just throws them off.
Right.
I like vanilla. I like chocolate. Okay, why? Like it's just those type of questions,
Sure.
and the way they answer, the way they handle themselves, I will know.
Excellent. No,
Yeah.
this last section, I think I've taken away something very, very big. That and I'm going to use the ice cream part and the sports section for sure.
Yeah, just small things. Just ask them to give some small task
Yeah.
before you hire them. You will know. But most importantly, I like people who is, except it's a sales position. If it's a sales kind of position, I like people who's driven by money. But if other types of positions, I want to hear from them. They're not just driven by money. One more quick tip maybe before we
Sure.
go. So there are three types of employees, right? You have first what I call a grunt. A grunt is someone who just, when you ask them during the interview, they are like, well, you know, after the interview, you ask them, what kind of questions do you have? You know, how many hours I have to work? How many holidays do I get? What's my overtime?
Yes.
So they just,
I know
the
those.
grunt, they just want a job, right? Okay. And then you have what I call a mercenary. A mercenary, they just work for money. How much I get paid? What's my salary? It's all money related question. And that's okay for certain positions.
Right.
Sales, you want a hungry
Right.
guy who wants money.
Right.
And then you have what I call patriot. A patriot is totally different. They're not just working for money. They're working for a cause. They're looking to belong to something.
Right.
They would be asking you questions. What is your culture?
Right.
What is your value of the company? Where do you see the company going? They're giving you feedback. That's a patriot.
Right.
So a grunt, a mercenary, or a patriot. So I want as many patriots as possible within the organization. Some mercenaries, some grunt, because there's some work, you know, you need some grunt. It's okay. It's okay. But you want more patriots in your company than anything else. Yeah.
So, okay, now this brings me back to the section on personal branding. A lot of people want could be employees or people who are thinking of becoming entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
or small entrepreneurs, big
Yeah.
all kinds of people. Personal, how important?
I think personal nowadays, you are a personal brand, regardless if you think you're a personal brand or not.
Okay.
We all have a brand.
Right.
Your Facebook page, it's a brand.
Right.
If I go to your friend and I ask your friend, okay, what do you think of you? They would think of, oh, he's a nice guy. He I can always count on him. He's a great friend. He's a nice guy. You have a personal brand. I think the problem is most people are not very conscious, they're not building their brand intentionally. So if you don't build your brand intentionally, the marketplace, the people around you, they would create a brand for you. So since you're going to have a brand anyway, you
Right.
might as well intentionally, strategically create that brand.
Right.
What do you want to be known for? How do you want people to perceive you? What do you want to be known as your expertise? He's the go-to guy. He is the master programmer. He's the superstar salesman, whatever.
And you have to have a niche. You can't be a master of all.
Yeah, I mean, we all start with a niche.
Right.
And I recommend people who... I started off more of a niche. Now I'm more broad.
What niche was that? What niche was that?
Yeah, for like, you know, internet marketing, that was
Right.
my thing. But now my brand is broad in business and things like that,
Right.
right? Even you go back even earlier, my niche was copywriting,
Okay.
right? Copywriting, marketing, internet marketing, right?
Okay.
Now it's general business, right? It's wider, but you got to start somewhere.
Sure.
It's easier if you start with a niche to make a name for yourself Then you have a group of people. It's like the concept Seth Godin talks about, the tribal leadership.
Yes, yes.
It's about gathering a group of small people who share the same value, who would follow you, who believe in your message. Even start out as simple as like a dozen people. From there, that dozen, they would bring in some more people, and then some more people, some more people. But it's not like one, now you have 1 million followers. It's like nobody gets to do what you do, like 100. It takes time.
Sure.
You start off with a handful of them, right?
Course.
Same thing.
So you know what? Another thing is that there are these two people I like to talk about, and I always say this in my shows that I've grown up with siblings. I've grown up with a lot of competition. I've grown up with some of my friends. We started the business together. I've never been jealous of anybody. I always wanted these people. If somebody had something that I wanted, I said, you know what? I love that guy's success. I want it too. I didn't say he shouldn't have it. There's one guy I'm really jealous of. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk. What does he do to get it right according to you? I want to know what he does.
I love Gary, first of all.
I love him to the point of jealousy.
I love what he does. He's very good at what he does.
He's so general. He doesn't talk to you about a particular topic. He talks to you generally. He's charismatic. He doesn't.
I think, first of all, he is very clear.
Is that the epitome of a personal brand being as real as possible?
Yes,
Yeah.
But I think you look at his Wine Library TV.
Right.
At the time, he was, hey, this is Gary Vaynerchuk. It's a very clear brand. He stands out. And then from wine, as a wine guy, now it's more social media business guy. So he went broad, which is also very strategic. Because Gary is starting now a venture capital fund, so he wants bigger audience. It's very smart on his end, I think. Now, what did he do right? I think, first of all, he's relentless. He's just relentless. Like he's tweeting like all the time. Keep promoting. You look at some of his latest videos. He has people following him around.
The Daily V show.
The Daily V show and all of that.
Addicted to it.
Yeah, so you're watching that. I think that's very, very smart. And not everybody's willing to go to that degree to do that. I think it's so from there, just just whatever it takes, promoting all the time. And he has a very clear message, what he's about, what he's not about. I mean, I love the way he does things. I love his answers.
And he's definitely putting a strategic business angle to whatever he's saying.
Yes.
But it's also coming from the heart. It's a mix of both. And it comes out so perfectly.
Yeah, and I think it's when it comes to personal brand, you have to be yourself. Because you can't be fake.
Sure.
It's transparency, is authenticity. Be yourself, be your best self, and then you want to amplify that on the platform. So these are qualities that you have, but amplify that using different channels. Not just that, but amplify it, then people can see that.
And Grant Cardone, what do you think about that?
Yeah, Grant is also a hustler. It's awesome. And you know what? Regardless if it's love Grant as well, Grant or Gary or whoever.
Colored socks.
Whoever. You notice it's just one thing in common. They just keep promoting themselves. It's like when we're growing up, we are taught not to toot your own horn. You want to be humble, like the Asian culture, right? Be humble, blend in. Yeah, don't stand out, don't make noise, right? But nowadays, you have to make some noise. You have to stand out. You have to do something a little bit outrageous to get attention. That's why we wear red, right?
Exactly.
You'll be talking about the guy in the red suit, right? It's the same thing. So I love both of them. I think for our watcher, for our viewer, is just look at those people and say, you know what? Of course, they have their abilities. They're good. But anybody can do it. That's what anybody can have an iPhone and you can make video. Anybody you can create a ton of video. You look at Gary, you look at Grant, how many videos they created, how many interviews they give, they just constantly promote their brand. I give about one interview at least once a week. That's my commitment, at least once a week. When Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield, when they're promoting this book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, you know how now they've sold hundreds of millions of copies? Well, people say, oh, there's so millions of copies, hundreds of millions of copies. Well, at the time when they're promoting the book, they were giving at least one interview per day for a few years. That's commitment to promote the brand, right? You got to get it out there. So I tell people, whatever it is, press. If it's 100,000 viewers, if it's 10 viewers, doesn't matter. Do it. Just do it. Like I said, always be somebody. Do something, and be somewhere.
Right.
Right? Just be somewhere, anywhere.
As long as you're alive, just keep going.
Just keep going. Even if it's one person listening to the podcast, do it. It's because it's practice.
Right.
And then eventually you would have 2 people, 3 people. My first seminar that I did, very first, I had 3 people,
Wow.
including my mom. 3 people in the audience. Right now you can speak to thousands.
Right.
But it started off as that small little
How
seminar.
are those seminars going? And is there a link that we can put in here
Sure. And I think the best way, go to my website, danlok, danlok.com. It links to everything else.
Okay, we put a link on danlok.com.
Sure.
And so people in India and people watching this show, if they want to get in touch with you, so they go to the website.
Yeah, danlok.com,
and they
danlok.com.
can, you have a Facebook page that.
Exactly. It links to my podcast,
Okay.
Shoulders of Titans,
Okay.
where every week I interview a successful entrepreneur.
Excellent.
It links to my YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube and search Dan Lok as well.
Right.
It links to all the books that I have.
Okay.
So everything is there.
And tell me, when are you coming to India?
Whenever you invite me, man. I want love to go to India.
Because the audience there is crazy. It's new. It's start. See, but what I say in some of my shows is, a lot of people want to understand India and come and make it in India. It's very
Yes.
simple. The reason that it's obviously opened up, but it opened up in '91 in terms
Yeah.
of the economic activities.
Yeah.
What's happening right now in India is that people realize that from the time they get up at 5 in the morning, well, I have to go to work at 9. Why do I have to get up at 5? Because I might have to change 2 buses, 3 buses, stand in line. I might have to, maybe the water is not coming at home, so he has to get his water. He has to come back home, maybe cook for. So he's used to working 18-20 hours a day, and he's used to seeing his father never taking a day off, working extra on Saturday,
Yes.
Sunday because he gets paid more.
Yes.
So today he's got that in his DNA.
Yes.
And so when the world is coming to India
Yeah.
with this inherent DNA of, let's work 20 hours a day, it's booming. But through this show and through entrepreneurs like yourself, I want to bring to Asia and other parts of the world,
Yes.
the Indian subcontinent, basically where I travel, everywhere from, say, Sydney to Dubai, and everywhere in between.
Yes.
All the information that's happening in North America in real time. And I think through this show in the last 45 minutes or 1 hour, with this awesome video production that Jeremy has captured for us, I think we've been able to bring some real-time messages to them. Thank you very much for being
Thank you,
on
my
this
friend.
show.
Thank
and
you.
I am going to be in touch with you because we are, through this show, what we're doing is we're going to invite startups and we're going to tell startups to come and showcase their idea on this show. They have to make a short video and under 3 minutes, send it to us. We're going to send it to you, and we're going to choose the 2 best ideas and
Give them
our views on
feedback.
that. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I would love it.
Because the startup scene there is booming because everybody
Yes.
is thinking 6 billion customer.
Yes.
Everybody's thinking big.
Yes.
So it'll be great to have some startups sending their plans, and then whenever you have time, maybe we can get some feedback on this
Absolutely.
show.
And then I love the Indian culture. One of my, heroes is Shahrukh Khan. So I watch all his movies.
too.
I love the guy. So I'm very much I love the
Yeah, you
Bollywood.
did mention that
Yeah,
last time.
yeah,
Yes,
you
yes,
know.
yes.
I watched the latest movie. It's all that. I love the Indian culture.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's very good work ethics. I have a couple programmers and developers in India as well. Like you said, good work ethics. People they're used to working hard.
They're used to working hard.
And now they can work from home.
Right.
It's like it's a paradise for them, right?
Exactly.
It is. It is.
So great. It was a great show.
Thank you,
We
my
look
friend.
forward to being in touch, and we look forward to getting a lot of startups sending us the startup ideas so that both of us can discuss them and send you back our feedback. Thank you very much for watching one more episode of the Ask Kavi Arya show. Stay tuned.
Thank you.